That was a fake laugh. I only did a fake laugh because I wanted to relive this amusing moment I had. I was this nigga Jack Nicholson, man. Jack Nicholson, man. I love me some Jack Nicholson, man. I miss Jack Nicholson, man. For really real, this nigga said cynicism. Cynicism is sanity. Cynicism is sanity. Right? You don't miss what Jack Nicholson says in his depiction, right? In his expression, in his entourage or his monologue, in his dialogue, in his ensemble. Yes, you don't miss what Cuz say. And that's why he's a legend, Mr. Jack Nicholson. One of the most prominent, most saturated. You know what it is? Cuz is a player, is what it is, Jack Nicholson. He's been a player since players. Been playing. But what's cold is Primal Fear, right? I'm trying to think if that's Citizen Kane, Primal Fear. That's Nicholson, right? Or was that could you like to fuck around and mix it up with De Niro sometimes? Different De Niro movies. You be thinking about Jack Nicholson is in. But what's cold is you ain't seen a movie, and what's funny is I was had to start. You ain't seen no movie with Robert De Niro and Jack Nicholson in it together. You have, but it's for a very, very brief scene, bro. Right? These niggas ain't been in no movies together, dog. But I looked into it because I wanted to see that scene. I thought to myself, I have to see any movie that these niggas are both in, right? So I looked into it, and it's only one movie, if I'm not mistaken, that you can find that these niggas are in the movie, but it's not that they're even in the movie together. They just happen to be two characters in the movie, and they're seen together for one scene in the movie, yo. Which is crazy. Because I'm thinking to myself, I believe it was a Jack Nicholson film. It's a great film, actually, with Jack Nicholson, and the story is dope, rather. It's called something about the moon or something like this. It's pretty ill. I think they made some sequels to it, too. It's a cold-ass movie. Girl was driving some slick little vehicles in it, too. It's about this nigga. He was building a house on the beach. He took his date to the house on the beach that didn't have no walls. It was just the frame of the house. It was on the beach. Like this shit was player, nigga. This shit, they had, you know what I mean? They had a conversation, nigga. It was a cold ass little experience. Cause that movie was silky, yo. That's a silky ass film. And she was an actress, right? The broad was an actress in the movie, right? I like that's just so interesting how you can have a movie about making movies. The movie, I think, was about making movies, low-key. Ironically enough. And this nigga Jack Nicholson is in it, but then you got Robert De Niro on it, right? So it might be even, I believe it's a Jack Nicholson flick, though. But there's a scene. They're sitting across the table from each other, and it's like, just like, the energy is crazy. Because them niggas know they're both, like, arguably the best in the game. Right? They're their own best in their own way. And that's why they probably don't do a lot of movies together. I don't even know if they would get along like that. Because it's like, of course, that's the ego. Like, you can't help but there's already ego involved in it. Even if you are the superest, humblest person, it's a business. And it's Hollywood. So, it's like, oh, this nigga threw a fat slab of beef. Oh, wait. It would have fed my family, nigga, for 2 weeks. Just threw it away, because it's a movie. That's the thing about movies, man. These niggas be eating, got all type of fixings and trinkets, boys. Niggas throwing food away. Cut, do another scene. I'll throw this whole fucking drink in the trash. Fuck that. Niggas out here hungry. Drunk. God, drunk in the mud, making mad Bloody Marys all day. This nigga named, you know what's cold is, I feel bad. The name of this movie is How Do You Know? It's got this one guy in it Fuck you, by the way, because you're not Jack Nicholson, nigga. And I have to try to think of your name. Why? Because you're a get buyer is why, nigga. You're a slider is why, nigga. Okay? I'm just fucking with you. You be doing mad movies and you got great energy too. Your energy has been quite balancing for me in my life. That's a beautiful thing about having like content, you know, having like that, you know, that answer, you know, to kind of just like take your mind off of so much and just be able to just not think about so much and just kind of just, you know, consider theoretical things, hypothetical, you know, imaginary things that you didn't think of yourself. It's a layer of use for that, for sure. Absolutely. You have to be careful though, because of course it can be infiltrated, you know, contaminated with, you know, outside motives that are not related to just your appreciation of art. You know, the art of performance, the art of illustration, basically. You're illustrating a particular idea or feeling or mood in your performance, right? As not necessarily a celebrity, but a professional, right? What's a celebrity but a professional, right? And that was the thing, like, that was all I had even with King that I stopped to mention in this particular instance, or instant, is about the love, right? And the art, basically, you know? And also, pain. And, you know, that being an outlet, for one, as I'm reiterating out loud what it is I thought about, really it was about trauma and hurt and pain and hate, basically, you know. But then I was also thinking about art too, though, because I just remembered to myself, I was just thinking about, because I'm sitting there drawing something, and I was saying to myself, damn, like, everybody's on this AI tip, like, this craze, this little fucking trend, right? This fad or whatever, this phase, like, I'm not really tolerant of that shit. I don't have a huge respect for. I'm not even gonna say respect. It ain't about respect. It's like I'm really just. It's irritating. It's not even irritating. I'm agitated. I'm infuriated by a nigga having a nerve to say that he don't have to draw some shit. I don't have to draw it. I can have AI draw it. I can have AI think it up. I can. What? What's wrong with you? Why you don't like to think, or why you don't like to draw? What's wrong? Brother, yes, the whole point is it takes time, yes. In that time, you're refining. In that time, you're recreating, yes. You know what I'm saying? Reimagining. You know what I'm saying? Restructuring, right? Now, you know what I mean? Through it, now, of course, you tell AI to do one particular thing. That's taking all of the magic out of it. First of all, because as you're deciding on one idea, you're having 70 different ideas that is not already particularly designated to this one effect that you're interested in, right? You tell AI is going to give you simulated categories of this one particular effect, right? It's completely reversing the process of inspiration. And I'm not down with none of that, cuz I love to draw, cuz I don't draw because I have to, so don't come to me, don't step up to me, please, because I'll slide you. And kindly, with all due calmness, it would not be, it's just not fun to me. It's not funny to me, right? It's just not funny to me for you to be so comfortable, right, speaking on how it is better that you would not have to do some shit that you don't have to do to begin with, right? You have the honor, nigga. You have the privilege. You have the chance, right? The gift to imagine. Right? To conceptualize, right? And so it's like it's cheating, in my opinion. It really is, in the name of business, and that's not enough of a reason for me, right? Because first of all, if you can't do what it is that you love to do without having to do it, then you have to do double as much, right? It is that we should be. It would be best, I believe, if you could. It'd just be a lot more balanced, I would say so, and more worthy of the magic that it is, and also what's connected to it, which would be other interested and inspired creatives and creators. Yes, it's already like this genre. It's like this underworld of thinkers, right? Of dreamers, right? Of believers, of of talented people, right? Of the talented, for one. Like, it's like shitting on talent, basically. It's completely shitting on talent. Like, what happened? Why talent is now so disposable now? That's weird. It's just super weird to me. It's kind of like, it's really kind of very telling to where we are financially, not even just economically, but just monetarily, right? As a business-wise. Business is gotten out of hand, you know? It's like we see what a love of money, where the love of money is, right? Like, what you do and what you get paid to do shouldn't have to be the same thing. It can be, right? But even what I'm saying is, like, there's always this delicate sort of threshold even involved with that. If you're even able to get paid or to make a living or to earn compensation, right, for what is already compensating, right? The very reward is the experience, right? And that's why you really hating on a celebrity, especially if they wouldn't be doing what they're doing if they wasn't getting paid for it, right? Low key, you know, coming back around to 8 unexpectedly, right? And that's not like a negative thing, you know. You could use that too. That's always an energy also to utilize, or, you know what I mean, utilitize. Yeah, man. For the love, yo. You gotta do it for the love. Because that's another magic in itself. You know, the experience in itself is gonna be rewarding. It's beyond any compensation that you can find outside of it. It would be besides it, right? And that's something to respect as well. When you have that magic, when you have that devotion, right, to quality, right, authenticity, yes. You have to respect it in a person who takes the time to professionalize themselves, right, to learn the industry as well as the technique, right, to learn what is involved with the skill and function, or rather procedure, yes, procedure of whatever it is that they're involving in their creativity and talent and imagination with. Right? The arts are broad, but art is art and business is business. Right? So as far as relying on artificial imagination, that involves more than what it seems that it's involving. First of all, for it even to be a conversation at all, for it to be an option on the table is extremely scary, right? Because it's like, what are these machines even, what is the point of these machines, right? They're trying to make it like it's creative, right? Like it's recreational, like there's some fun to be had out of it, when really even the fun that they're trying to act like you could have out of it, it's not fun at all. Like, even if you had a fucking sex robot cyborg, that's sure, I guess you can get your rocks off with that, but you can get your rocks off without that just as much, using your own imagination and whatever, using your own body, let alone not someone else. Right? You don't want to be moving away from interacting with another person when it comes to sensually and erotically. You don't want to be moving farther away from that, if at all, right? Right, that's why you wait until you find someone who can bust that nut for you, yes. In the meantime, it's not like, oh, well, you don't need them, and then if you had them, that's just a bonus. Well, you don't want nobody feeling like that. But you don't, at the same time, you don't want nobody feeling like, you're using them either. You know what I mean? So that's a balance in itself. That's another delicate sort of threshold comparable to doing what you love and loving what you do. Right? Because we gotta do, right? Right? You gotta live. Not that you gotta live, but you are alive. We are here to live. We are here to experience. We are here actually to create is the thing. Right? We are literally here to create. Even in our thoughts and our imagining, we're creating complete worlds and dimensions. Right? They say where thoughts go, energy flows, right? That's truth. That's the truth. What is also the truth is this art, like, it's not so novel, right? The whole point is that it's human made. The whole point is that it's human made. There's really no place for anything else when it comes to art. And if it's not art, and it's in this art slot, right? In this art place, in the place of art, in this art conversation, then what really is that shit? It's a bunch of bullshit is what it is. It's a mockery. It's a literal mockery. And it's not no play. It's not even no fucking excuse for this shit, to be honest. What is the point? Right? Are we using these fucking computers to grow food? What's the point of that? There's people without jobs out here, yo. If they don't have no job, right? If they not making no type cake, then they shouldn't have to be trying to stay around their family because they need to make bread. Otherwise, they're burden on their family. No? Or at least be growing food. So fly them fools out to wherever we would be using these computers to grow food and have them grow food. Oh, where there's no error with the computer? Okay, well, shit, fair enough. It's faster, it's more cost effective. You don't have to pay no computer. True enough. Yeah, it can go faster. Well, shit, let's put them in them fields to grow this food for sure, because there's greenhouse gases. Okay, the depletion of the rainforest, and we can have them computers handling all of that. We can program them to imagine shit, and they should be able to time and track the seasonal harvest without us having to tell them. Nobody. They should be able to tell by the condensation in the air what time it is to do to go grow this food while there's starvation on the planet. No, about there's literal hunger on the planet, and we talking about letting computers think for us instead. No, we need to be thinking about more solutions. And far as the physical labor, if there's a computer that we can program to do that, that would seem like the most effective, application for this digital shit. Because the way direction that it's going is first of all it's only a ploy, right? It's a facade. It's a ploy for what really is the interest, right? For what the real interest is, and that is to replace humans altogether. Okay? To where now they can be creating wastes, right? Because the creation of waste is not only lucrative, okay? It's not only about just cutting cost. It's literally about production of said materials that would not be being produced in any other way at this rate anywhere else in this fucking universe, nigga. Okay? You think about plutonium, right? The number one result of this material-centered energy dependency, next to what? Uranium? Now, these are two planets, okay? Where is all of this going? Where's all of this radioactively poisonous, non-biodegradable substance going? They're burying it in this earth, guys. Do you feel like that's not an agenda? Especially when it's not even necessary, yo? The shit's not even necessary to do. It's like they're doing this shit on purpose. Like that's the goal. Like, right? Think about it, bro. Right? They say the Simpsons is prophetic. That's one of the most prophetic parts of the Simpsons, okay? Is this family man, right? Born on Earth to create, here to love, doing his living, doing his creating, doing his dreaming, yes? Literally daydreaming at the job, drooling about donuts, yes? I'm saying like whatever his dream would be. I think Homer always wanted to be what? A snowplow man? No, he just wanted to do that because he saw somebody else doing it. His big dream was what? What was Homer's dream to do? And what's called is like you got Homer's Odyssey, right? And Homer's named after Odysseus, or Homer in Homer, but the Odyssey, written by Homer, right? It's Odysseus, yes, who was gone on the sea, away from his family, right? Fighting to get back to his family, right? He got back to his family decades later. His son's grown and shit, right? But the family never grows, right? He's there the whole time. For years upon years, the family's the same, right? And that right there was a whole nother special like conditioning. Like that was something very special in itself. That was beautiful and is beautiful and can always be beautiful because the content was extensive. It continued, right? And we grew with it and it grew with us, but it was still the same scenario, right? But what's cold, another cold thing, not to get too extra Simpsonism, go into too much Simpsonism. Yeah, he worked at this radioactive nuclear waste plant, right? Now, there's no excuse for that. But there needs to not be an excuse for that because it is specifically and directly the intention of those now in the position to enforce this particular protocol and system, basically, right? It's farther than just, like I said to you, if I was to go into it, it would, you know what I mean? It'll fuck you up, but it's in plain, it's right there, it's right in your face, like. So, because like I always tell you, this planet has not always been here. Okay, they say that this planet existed even before the sun existed, Earth existed. Okay? Now they say Earth used to orbit around the planet Saturn. Low key. Now, you do your research on this. This is factual. The Earth existed, was created before our sun was. Okay? This Earth is billions of years old. Older than our sun is, this Earth. Now, were there beings on this Earth? Well, more likely not. At least whatever sorts of being that you would be able to compare them to or associate them with organically as of current. Because, of course, the conditions for life, as we know it, were a lot different. You know, there was not such a bright light on this planet to grow vegetation. There was not even, I would imagine, any water, because they say that happened with sun conditions, that the water came. But I could be mistaken about that also. That it's not even saying when the water came. And a lot of times they do have like a time window as far as when the water came onto the planet Earth. But I haven't done the calculations as to how that relates to when this planet supposedly was orbiting a different center of gravitation. Because now it is the sun, but it wasn't always the sun. Low key. Now, when it did become the sun, and when they're saying water been on the Earth, that's something I gotta look into, because they can't really necessarily even say when the Earth supposedly began to orbit the sun, or even if the sun created conditions that led to the formation of this Earth. Right? But this Earth was came into formation through stardust and probably, you know, comets colliding or whatever, making different little chunks of Earth that grouped together. Ain't no telling how the Earth was made. They say at the center of the Earth there's another little baby sun. The core of the Earth is a glowing orb in itself, right? Or at least a hot fire boiling, and that's glowing. I would imagine the center of that is probably glowing light. It's that hot. You see a volcanic eruption on the center of the Earth. Even the liquid of that is glowing hot, glowing light. It's liquid light. By the time it reached the surface, all the way from the core of the Earth. So it's not just some fucking asteroid, nigga, just meaningless ass asteroid. It has a core, my nigga. It's a star in itself, cuz this Earth. That's why by the time the very light / heat that ends up, I'm so sorry. You know what's cold is. Niggas are fucking thick in their head. What the fuck? Niggas feel like it's funny. Like, why did niggas feel like it's funny? What's cold is like, I don't know if niggas even think about this type of shit. Because nobody ever mentioned it to me. And I'm starting to see like more and more people mentioning other things that they would never even think about if they thought about this type of shit. And that's concerning to me. Because I would imagine at age 40, right? Okay, we'll come around to happening across particular discussions that involve the fucking obvious cuss. But now they making artificial imagination now. By the time that ain't been happening in the public arena, in the public forum, right? You know what I mean? It's just kind of sparse. It's very scarce, you know? Maybe I'm not informed. Maybe I'm not involved. Maybe I'm not invited, right? It could be, that could be it also. You know, I don't see why it would need to be sanctioned, right? I mean, I do see how it could be sanctioned or where it would end up being, considering all that it is that it means what I'm saying to you, as far as Earth, yes, and whatever beings, right? They're not humans. They may be Venetians. Maybe they are Uranians and Plutonians. That is the very substance, right? Maybe this substance, yes, fuels particular spaceships, right? And it's a struggle to make it to the corners of the universe, even dimensionally, even quantumly, yes, to collect this particular substance, right? Right? Because, my nigga, we on this earth right now, my nigga, right? Where does plutonium and uranium come from otherwise, my nigga? Huh? Where would we get it from otherwise, cuz? In gallons, my nigga. We might get implement, right? This agenda that they have, which is having its effect in not only this dimension, right? Because where do our souls come from and go to? It goes to that same dimension. But if our souls now are under attack in this particular realm, that's affecting something else going on beyond time, okay? Beyond just the universe. Yes? So, how many of those are there? How many places like that are there? Right? We talking about this quantum field, right? Where all of energy comes from. Any life at all comes out of this quantum chamber or quantum realm. But as we see, we have our universe, or we have our solar system. We have our galaxy, yes, but there's many galaxies all within this universe. But there's multiverses, right? The universe is what we can see. All what the limit of what we can see is our universe. But we know of existence beyond what we can even see. How? Evidence through science. You know what I mean? Being able to track the movement of things and what it would imply. I can't even answer that question. That's a good question to be able to be very informed about, as far as how do we know, or how are we sure of existence beyond what we can see? Well, that's the point. It's nothing that we can't see is the part, right? Because it's all in the darkness, right? And that's why when you search, right, when you examine, right, when you explore and observe this universe, multiverse, yes, you can see everything, fam. It's just farther and farther and farther or closer away. You know, just because a star is larger or brighter doesn't mean that it's closer. Sometimes that fucking star, nigga, is larger than our galaxy put together. Not just our sun, but all of the stars, which are baby suns in themselves, or rather other suns in themselves in our galaxy, far, far, far too far away to even have any heat from those stars, even though 20 inches closer to the sun, we wouldn't even be able to be alive on this particular planet. And it's distant from this particular sun now, even though this earth existed before the sun even existed. But in the creation of the sun, the gravitational pull of the sun pulled Saturn in and Earth closer than Saturn, away from Saturn. But the gravitational pull of Saturn still affects the lives of the beings here on this planet. And this is facts. Every 72 years, right? But who even make it to 72 and that again? Well, there's people in the Bible that was. Right? You hear what I'm telling you, bro? That's the highest, I believe. Let me look at my notes real quick. That's the highest, I believe, and then maybe Pluto might be longer as far as a revolution around the sun. Yes, it's the slowest moving planet. I do believe Saturn is, and that all has a bearing on all type of energies, being that energy in itself is frequency and vibration. You know, so movement is all energy is movement. All life is movement. Everything is movement. Anything that's not movement is not of this particular fucking dimension, realm, cuz anything beyond that quantum field is what I'm telling you, my nigga. Wherever that is, and how many other wherever there are, my nigga. We can say, oh, well, look, okay, that's another layer, so everything on that layer is included, and so, okay, we can say that, but we can't necessarily say that, especially because we may not even be able to see a plutonian or fucking uranian, but we making uranium and we making plutonium, cuz, for no reason. But there's a reason though, right? Because a part of me says to myself, hey, you know what? This planet has to blow up anyway. Perhaps it's for the better, right? This planet's not always going to be here anyway. We might as well be doing what we can, right? I would imagine, but unless it's helping something that's on a different side than what we own. Because for 44,000 years, nigga, something else was going on, fam. Right? They say there was mining gold, right? That was mining gold too. There's evidence on every inch of the earth of hominids, right? Of whatever sorts of fucking being species mining gold from the earth. There's been much more gold than there even is now, and there's excess gold even at this point, and there's still more gold to be excavated from out of the earth. Gold is being made at every moment in the earth, cuz. Right? Now that's another element that you're not gonna find in no star, cuz. Okay? Stars maybe have a little bit of gold in it, yo. I'm gonna let you know right now. The burning of a star, a supernova star, not just a regular star like our star, right? Once it's blown up already 3 times, then it gains the momentum, and then, you know, gathers all of the shit a few times back into itself to make a larger star. Because this particular planet, once it does blow up, see, the sun blowing up is going to destroy this planet, right? Right? But who's to say that whatever activity on this earth, whether it be through people, animals, plants themselves, or just the uninterrupted burning of the core of this planet, maybe perhaps it's not strong enough to become a star and blow up on its own, but who's to say? They say the core of the Earth is iron in itself. Well, the core of a star is always going to, of a supernova star is always going to end up being iron. That's the last thing that's created. Just before it explodes, it makes a little baby piece of iron. Now that baby piece of iron on the scale of a supernova star might be the size of New York. I'm not sure. But they say it's extremely minute. Right, and it takes, so that would take millions and billions of stars over trillions of years exploding, brother. Supernova stars exploding just to get enough iron than what we're able to pull up out of this fucking Earth, cuz. Why? Because whatever is at the center of this Earth, the core, gravitational pull that brought together this amazing, lovely globe, sphere of a home that we live on, pulled together all of those elements out of space, fam. So it's part of the soil, right? That's the trace element mineral components that make up the very soil of the land that is the Earth, cuz. Okay, there's iron in the Earth, there's gold in the Earth, there's no fucking plutonium or uranium in the fucking Earth, cuz. That's of a different something. Okay, that's of a different something, yo. Now who the fuck, what that got to do with whatever? Yes, it got something to do with something, cuz. Right? Because when you go into it, all of this shit is based on pain. You feel me? It's not based on love. It's not based on fucking peace. It's not based on celebration. It's not based on evolution. It's based on mutation. It's involving mutation and grotesque deformities, and you know what I'm saying? Fucking impurities. Right? You can't even get uranium through a integral process of energy creation. It takes you stopping at a point. You know what I'm saying? It's interesting. It's completely interesting because, to be honest, say for instance, no space travel, humans go out into space and live and end up finding whatever other situation outside of what would be Earth, and it expedites the evolutionary process. Or even if it doesn't expedite the process, it influences it. It actually changes the course of evolution to where the species now gain some other sorts of functions, right? Or maybe we even are intercepted or encounter other species from other planets like Uranus and Pluto. Yes, that we could never necessarily see because we didn't know how to look at them, or we didn't know how to see them, or whatever. Or they're invisible to whatever sorts of standard means of observation that we are employing. And we mate with them or some shit, or we, you know what I'm saying? They fucking take us as slaves, or I don't know. They give us their secrets or some shit. I don't know. You know what I mean? Maybe they're nice. They say, yeah, you know, we hated that we had to go been, you know what I'm saying, creating waste on your planet, and it was taking all of this blood and death to keep going, but we needed this for the future, or whatever the fuck, right? So what I'm saying to you is, this Earth is very special, cuz. Anyway, right? It's absolutely, for sure, definitely the only planet like it is. Unless it's not. And we wouldn't know either way. And that's what's crazy, like, right? How close does another planet need to be in order for us to even see the planet? Of course we could see these stars, right? Telescopes can zoom in and see stars in galaxies on the outer edge of our universe, right? But that's as far as we can see. It's even as far as we can see, it's still farther than what we can see. And who's to say that even what we can see close enough to the star that we're looking at to see any fucking planet orbiting that star, right? Because the star we seeing is only looks small because, of course, it's even farther than what is than where we're even looking at it at. Like, if we were to zoom in on it, how close can we get to it? We can see the surface of our sun. We can see the surface of our sun, cuz. But have you ever seen the surface of another star? Right? So to see the surface of our star, of course, we're going to run across some planets. Right? Our resolution is crisp enough, right? But I don't think we can see that close to them other stars to be even able to say if there's any other planets like Earth. You understand? We can see the surface of the sun. The sun, though, is a star. Okay? The surface of stars. Okay? I'm about to Google the surface of a star. The surface temperature of a star is indicated by which characteristic? The lower surface of a starfish is called. I kind of want to know that. Let me find that out. It's called a predicament, an oral surface. Yes. Because that's where the mouth is at, up under it. The surface of a star. How is the surface area of the star calculated? What does the surface of a neutron star look like? What is the surface of a star? Do stars have a surface? The photosphere is a star's outer shell from which light is radiated. The structure of the sun, a G-type star, core, radiation zone, convection zone. Photosphere, which is the surface. A chromosphere, which is outside of the surface. The corona, a sunspot, and granules, and prominence. Solar wind, the surface of the sun. The term itself is derived from ancient Greek roots, photos, meaning light, and spharia, meaning sphere, light sphere, in reference to it being photosphere. Photosphere. In reference to it being a spherical surface that is perceived to emit light. I believe it's just the orb, you know what I mean? But they say, yeah, it got a surface. That's crazy. How could it have a surface? How could the sun have a surface? That's crazy. It extends into a star's surface until the plasma becomes opaque, equivalent to an optical depth of approximately 2/3 or equivalently a depth from which 50% of light will escape without being scattered. Whatever that means. I want to see the surface of another star. View the first detailed image of the surface of a giant star outside our solar system. Yes. I want you to look at that, a giant star. I suppose you can see that close. Well then I guess, man, there ain't no other planets, man. Our planet is real special, man. I already feel like I agree that our planet is very special. That says enough that says enough in itself. You know. That's why it's like, oh no, bro, like, nah, I'm gonna create my own art, you know, even if it take more time, you know, that's just more work I gotta do. That's just more artists I need to work with. You know what I mean? We can pick a particular, we can create and designate this particular formula. You know what I mean? I can even make a template. You follow the template, we get it, we pump it out, right? That's what we need. We already got printers. What we need anything else for, right? It's interesting. Oh, for concepts, that's not fair, right? To now pattern concepts, that's taking it a step too far, in my opinion. Not like I'm complaining about competition. It's not even the same. It's completely not even. It's completely unrelated, to be honest. And for anyone to just be all right with that, they don't understand the detriment and the blow that is taken on the imagination, right, of a thinker, right? It's really kind of hijacking the process involved with minds and like minds being able to individualize themselves and have a sense of originality, right? The whole principle of originality is actually threatened in something like you just being able to type in your idea and get an image, right? It's really not fair to the young imagination, right? It's taking their journey out. It's taking the actual experience out, completely out of the picture, out of the magic. You know, I click this page to view the first detailed image. This is a giant star. It looks like an extreme blurred. You can't even see. It's not very detailed. Like, you know, you can see a video of the sun exploding with solar flares and what looks to be like lava. Like it's just a big, complete ball of lava, low key. That's what it looks like. Right? And you can see it because it's close, but I don't think you can see a surface of another star. No, I'm sure you can. The surface of a star. The best ever image of a star surface and atmosphere. A brighter method for measuring the surface gravity of distant stars. Okay, so yeah, it looks like there actually is the most adjacent star. It's not so visible. I can't find too many images on it that actually is revealing a detailed surface view of it. So it may not be so possible, right? Like as I was saying, but even that star, which would be the most closest star, uh, charted at 4 light years from our star and solar system, the closest star has its own solar system, right? What's the solar system? Well, it's made up of a system of whatever satellites in reference to that soul, that sun, right? A star is a sun, but a star is only a sun in reference to its children, low key, right? Which would it be? What's ever revolving around it? Was it whatever orbits the sun is going to make a system of the solar? Yes, solar power is only power to what it is powering, right? i.e. the climate, i.e. the atmosphere of this planet. But even the closest star in proximity is actually called Proximus, right? That's the closest star. Now, as far as the surface of this star, it's not so visible. It's not even as as detectable, the surface of the star. I could be wrong. I might be assuming more than I should when it comes to the possibility or the capabilities of particular scopes when it comes to the surface of stars. But even without a detailed rendition or view of this particular star, the closest one to us, we can see that there are planets and potentially inhabitable planets orbiting this particular star, the closest star. Even the closest star, as far as we can see, has planets that orbit it. And not only planets, yo. Some of the only planets found in all of the universe, that is, for as far as you can see, that offer the option, that could offer the option of an alternative to Earth. Now, what is the life of this star? How much farther than our sun will it even live and not explode? I'm not sure about that, right? How much more time does this Earth have as a safe place to be at without some sort of other viable option or alternative? I don't know. You know, you never do know what could happen and what will happen. But as it does, the more considering you're doing, a better position you'll be in. They're literally one. That is really literally the plan. They really finna hop over and pop over to that other planet. That's what they're trying to do. It's literally scoot over to the other solar system, the closest one to us. But I think it's a trick though. It's a trap. You know, it's just too perfect, right? It's almost parallel. Like it doesn't have all the other planets. It literally only has 2 planets, right? Like a ghost planet and a mirror planet, low-key. I think it's an illusion, right? I literally think like it was put there for a reason and shit. Like, I mean, it's literally the closest star, and it's only got 1 planet and then another planet orbiting it, right? And this freaking planet is like a reverse Earth, low-key. It's like, it's like a shadow Earth, low-key. They say. This is what they're saying about this Proximus b planet. The star is called Centaurian, Proximus Centaurian, right? It's part of the star itself. The star is called Proximus Centaurian. It's part of a 3-star constellation system in itself. Now, how much further are the other 2 stars from our star in reference to whatever other stars in proximity? I am not sure. Perhaps there are even closer stars than the other 2 stars in the constellation of the Proximus star system that would be closer, that are not part of whatever other constellation. I am not an astrologer or an astronomist, so as to be able to say, but I did look into on the lovely, fantastic of internet how visible the surface of any other stars really are, and that's how I even found out about this other motherfucking planet, nigga, that these niggas really finna be trying to go to. They already on their way to that planet, good. That's why they fucking this planet up. They say a year on that planet on one of the planets of the two that's orbiting this particular star that's closest to us that I still ain't seen a detailed picture of the surface of, was what I was saying. Um, one of the planets, a year on it, I don't want to watch this movie though. Just looking at this commercial for it, got Brad Pitt in it, but then he's like, he in space, but I seen some large ass ape ass nigga. Maybe they took an ape with them out to space, cause this is like a, this looks like an Earth ape that was looking at him in his face. I got Tommy Lee Jones in it too. Got to watch it. It's called Ad Astra. Ad Astra. I want to know when it's going to be showing. Being that so that I would be able to view it accordingly. Yeah, I'm gonna have to watch that. I don't know if whoever seen it, if it was good or not. It looked like it's good. They in space fighting all type of monsters and beasts, but the beast looked like it wasn't like alien, and like it wasn't, you know, it looked like an actual, like it probably got possessed by what the fuck I'm telling you is gonna possess these niggas when they try to go to Proximus B and shit. Or you go out to space, there's all this cosmic smog and shit, nigga. You don't know what the fuck happened in space, okay? What's cool about space is it sometimes takes light to travel trillions of years to even, it takes sometimes light time to travel, right? So you wouldn't even know if it was an alien sitting right there in the darkness of space. Nigga, ain't no light on it. The nigga sitting there looking right at you, try to look at whatever else you would be able to see, but you're not gonna see it because it's not close to no stars. You understand? It's sitting right there in space, you're not gonna see it. Just like when you go to the moon, you don't see no stars. Supposedly. They say they landed on the moon, but in the pictures when they landed on the moon, you couldn't see no stars in space. Right? Because the light is from a different angle, and it takes different time to reach that light. Half of the moon is dark. What's cool about the moon is that it's rotating at the same speed that it's orbiting. Yes? And so we only see one side of the moon, even though it's rotating around our Earth, or revolving around our Earth, right? But I think the moon is rotating clockwise, while all of the planets except for Venus rotate counterclockwise. Venus is the only planet that revolves, that orbits the sun, or that rotates, right? No, it actually even oh, that's interesting. I'm not even clear on if it rotates clockwise and revolves clockwise, but I'm pretty sure, if I'm not mistaken, that it actually is revolving, orbiting the sun in an opposite direction than all the other planets. You understand? Now this is key. These are key facts, you understand? They actually are significant to certain things and differences. Yes, it's like they got the gears of a machine, you know. The direction that they turn mean different things, you understand? So even with one of them planets, I'm not sure if it's the Proximus B planet that you would land on. That makes a difference. They say one of the planets is actually it revolves that sun at a year's time, at closely to a year's time, more or less, give or take. But I'm not sure if that's the planet they talking about landing on. I would imagine so, because that would be the closest to a similar planet. But I guess the other planet, right, which is a much larger, its years are I think 5 days, right? But it rotates much slower though. Like it's rotating at like 500-year periods, right? So a day would be 500 years, but a year is supposedly 5 days, right? So the year being the revolution, the orbit, is 5 days. So it's spinning around that star hella fast, but it's rotating extremely slow, like a full rotation. That's the spin of the planet as it's orbiting. It's rotating like one rotation every 500 years. Now that's the evil planet, and I mean, I think it's much larger than approximate speed. But say for instance we were to be on that planet, right? Imagine like time would just seem different on that planet, for one, right? You're moving so quick to where you probably wouldn't be able to even, you know what I mean? You wouldn't be able to even be on the surface of that planet and even know what the fuck was happening. You know what I mean? You probably lose your mind on that motherfucker. So, but if we could live on it, I would imagine time would just seem different, you know. But how different would it be? Would it be like, okay, within, if a year is 5 days, that means average life expectancy, right? It's anywhere between 60 to 80 years, right? You know, you break that down, divide that by 5, 5 divided by 8. I mean, 80 divided by 5 is 14, right? Or no, it's what's 40? How you get 40 from 5? 7, right? No, 9. No, 8. Yeah, so that's 18. Right? That would be 90. So 30 is 6. So that's 16. Right? So 80 years divided by 5, which that would be the 5 years, would be 16. So, what's the math on that? How is that even math? Right? So 5 years is, no, 5 days is a whole year. Right? So 80 times 5 will give you the amount of days. Right? So 80 times 5, nigga, well, which we said 8 times 5, nigga, is 40. So that's, nigga, that's 400. 80 times 5 is 400. 400 days will be a lifetime. So your lifetime will be like a year. That's one way it could go. That's one way you could experience it, right? Or, being that a year is 5 days, it would still feel like a year even though it's only 5 days. And so at 10 days, that'd be 2 years, right? And 80 days, or 80 years, 60 to 80 years, we'll stretch it out. We'll give it the benefit of the doubt at 80 years, right? We'll give it the maximum. 80 years, going up to by 5, divide that by 5, you get 16. So it'd be 16 times 5 at that point. As far as the years are concerned, that'd be 16 years you live. Your life expectancy would be, well, if it's 5 days, nigga, it'd be 16. Hold on, wait. Okay, wait, hold on, wait. So 5 days, right? That's not even a whole year, nigga. So, how many days in a year? You got 365 days in a year, right? So 5 years. No, 5 days is a year, right? So, compared to our years, which are 365 days, right? So, well, 365 would be, wait, so 5 days. 5 days, right? 5 days. Well, we got 5 days. You got 5 days. You got 5 days, and that's a year. So, our years are 365 days, right? So, 5 days is a year. You know what I mean? So what do? You times that times 80, right? Times that times 80, we said we get 400. So that's 400 days is a lifetime, yes? But back the other way, to where as if, you know, a day is a day, right? Right? Because it's a day there is still, a day there is actually 500 Years, nigga. Right, on this particular planet, and for this example, just theoretically speaking, or thinking. So you got, that's neither here nor there. But it would make more sense that you would live longer, especially if a day is 500 years. Yeah, so, but even though a year there is faster, which would make sense as to why you would even live longer too. So say for instance, right, you spend a year, that's 5 days, right? But to us, a year is 365 days. So 5 days is like 365 days. However, to match the difference, right, between it. Yes. 5 days goes into 365 days, 13 times, right? Wait, 5 goes into 360. Like 5 going to 360 times, right? 60. Okay, yeah. See, that's what I'm trying to figure out. I'm figuring out the 65 before I figure out the 300. So the 65, of course, that's 10 plus 3, 13, right? And I was saying 113, but it's not 113 because it's 300 and not just 500. I don't know what made me say 113, but we got 13 to make the 65 of the remainder, right? Because that's not a whole 100. I don't know why I'm doing the math the way I'm doing it. So, all right, look, so you get 13, that gives you 65, but you still got the remaining 300 left. So 300 divided by 5, of course, is 60. So you plus 13 plus 60, that'll give you 73, right? 73 years would be 1 year, right? Here, 73 years there would literally equal one. That's really the life expectancy here, nigga. Is 73 years, low key. That's funny too, right? So 73 years. 73 years there would be 1 year here. So you multiply that 73 times 80. So 7 times 8. That's 42. Gotta be, that's gotta be 56, of course. 7 times 8, 56. Fool, of course. 54. No, 56. 54, 6 times 9. That's right. Because there's only one more multiplication to do once you get to 54 if you're going by sixes. But there's 3 more if you go. Well, there's 4 more to go by if you're going by 9s. Because you at 6, but you gotta add 3 more to go ahead and make it to 10. 4. But you're already at the 6th. So the 7 next one would be 7, 8, 9, and 10. If you want to count to 10, there's 4. But 56 is 8 times 7. So 70 times 80, which we'll round it off. This is just a ballpark figure, the 80 number. And that's like, you know what I mean, the ideal expectancy of a life on Earth at this time. Because we were talking about lifetimes, right? And the change in time through the history of time as far as our association with time. You know what I mean? And it was also talking about time machines. And it was also talking about, planetary societies or entities, that we may not be able to see because, of course, they're not in a part of space where there's any light that would be on it. You understand? But anyway, back to this other Proximus C planet, or B. I'm not sure. I think it's the C planet. The one that they're not saying they would want to go to. That's actually in orbit of the same star. The only other planet in orbit of the same star, you understand? All right, so now we in context, we got everything in perspective. The math of it would be, I would imagine, far as like living on this planet, if you would even be trying to live on a planet other than Earth, for whatever reason. When you don't even have to go in your physical body to any other place, unless you would be in a different type of body, I would imagine, or without body or whatever, right? I don't know. It's just really interesting. I mean, this is all questions you can answer if you were to think about it enough, right? If you take the time to actually sit and think about it until you came up with an answer, it may take a long time, but it would happen. It would literally happen. All you have to do is just remember to ask yourself that question when you can ask any question and know you would have the answer when you get to a point of, of suspension, right? This is literally the situation. It's a little difficult nowadays because of, panic and pandemonium and distress and anxieties, but if you happen to be in an area where that's not so much of a issue, then I can encourage you to ask yourself whatever question that you would have that you haven't been able to answer, or that you have just forfeited the pursuit of even attempting to answer. Then I want to remind you that if you have the time, then you have the answer. As far as time on this other planet, Proximus B or C, on the nearest star to us. Yes? That we can see, but I'm not sure if we can see the surface of it. And if we can't see the surface of that star, that means we can't see the surface of no other stars. And if we can't even see the surface of no other stars, even in our own galaxy, then I would not imagine that we would be able to tell if it has any planets that's orbiting it that would be similar to Earth, right? And the reason why I'm even posing this particular scenario or possibility, because it's like races of other species of beings, right? And the mysterious possibility of that, right? Have they seen the surface of this other planet? I would imagine they have. They've seen the surface of Pluto. They've seen the surface of Saturn, of Neptune, of Uranus, of Mercury up close, right? We got up close shots of that, and those are far. Those planets would have to be closer than that other planet, but being that it's in our solar system and its next solar system is 4 light years away, right? They say Pluto itself is however many hundreds of billions of kilometers away, but they already sent a probe at whatever time within the recent centuries that has passed Pluto, that sent back pictures of detailed up-close pictures of Pluto that are very beautiful, extremely immaculately marvelous, if I do say so. I mean, it's another fucking planet, my nigga. Photographs of it, my nigga, right? Not like it's better than Earth, or I wish I was on Pluto. It's pretty dope. God's creation is amazingly dope. Right? It's not nothing you could imagine. I mean, it is something you could imagine, but it's already been imagined. Right? It exists already, because outside of whatever else you would be imagining. And photographs have reached back to the Earth for me to look at, and I find that significant. As far as Proximus B, C, and Proximus Centaurian, which would be the star that they orbit, this other planet, right, which I wouldn't imagine would be inhabitable. They're not saying that they're even considering inhabiting them, with this other planet, and I'm not even sure which one. Well, I'm pretty sure it's not the one that they would want to be going to, because its years are too short. That means that the spin is too fast. But the other planets, the years are close to the time that our years are. You know, which is ideal, which is lovely. I don't know, you know what I'm saying? We might grow an extra elbow or something, but you know, hey, it's not that big of a deal. Uh, but okay, so yeah, 70 times 8, or times 8 or 80 would be 560. No, that's 2 zeros though. So that's 5,600. All right, 5,600, but there's a 3 also. 506, so 3 times 8. All right, 3 times 8. First, we're going to do the 3 times 8 first. 3 times 80, right? So what would we do? We'll do the 70, and then we just add the 3, so we're not going to add a 0 to that 3. We're going to already added a 0, so that's 5,600. All right, so now what's 3 times 80? 3 times 80, of course, is going to be 240. So 5,600 plus 240, nyaga. It's going to be 5840, nigga. 5840, nyaga. That's the amount of that's the amount of years. That's the amount of days. That's the amount of years you would live, right? Because 73, yeah, that's the amount of years, nigga. In Earth years, nigga. You would want to say you would be able to want to live, right? And this is if you were to stretch it to match the effect, right, of an Earth life, right? Because technically, it would be 73. Wait. So technically, 5 days is a year there on that planet. 80 years, you would times it times. Well, how many? Okay, well, shit. That's what I'm doing. That's another thing to do, right? So if it made a change and it was a different type of feeling, you would live to about 5840, right? 58. What did I say? What's 3? Yeah, 5840. 5,840 years, like them niggas in the Bible, yes? Like them niggas in the Bible was living, like the kings in the Bible lived, right? So then, say for instance though, you just went on the actual time, the time difference. When that's something you have to gauge, you would need to know both numbers. You would need to know the 16-year number, the 5,840 number, and then this third number, right? Because that's what you call a triangulation, a syzygy. A syzygy, you know what I mean? Which is the alignment of 3 celestial bodies, but it's really 3 different points of reference. It's a syzygy, right? It's also called a parable. You know what I mean? A parable is actually a space calculation, astronomical or cosmological calculation, right? It's not just what I'm talking to you about right now as far as a parable, right? That's the secondary definition of parable. A parable is actually a curve in the tracking or the connection of 2 points as a parable. So what I'm considering to you now would be the parable. That number of 5,840 is actually the parable, which is an anomaly, sort of undifferentiated, or rather uncalculable anomaly. Because you got a paradigm and you got an anomaly, right? So it's like a open possibility, basically, is what a parable is. It's like what you can't really, what you couldn't really calculate until you actually will be able to say, right? And that would take, first of all, 5,840 years, nigga, to be able to say. Okay, but if you don't ever be looking to see, then your generation, say for instance, it didn't happen the way you're thinking, or you wouldn't even be able to track the difference consciously, right? Then you couldn't tell your generations to look for that. You know what I mean? However many generations in 5,840 years. Shit, nigga, it's 3 generations every 100 years. So each of them thousands of years, which is 5,000 of them. That's times 3. That's 15,000. generations, nigga. Plus 800 years, more 100 years. 800 times 3. Right? Because it's 3 generations a year. That's 24. That's 2,400. So 15,000 plus 2,400 is 17,400 generations. just to investigate, nigga, and experiment, nigga, with that parable that I just mentioned to you, nigga. 17,000, nigga. 17,000 generations, nigga, within just 5,840 years. You know what I'm saying? Earth years made up of 360 days. You know what I'm talking about? Give or take 5. You know what I mean? But yeah, buddy boss. Really, honestly, or rather, theoretically and technically, a lifetime, a human lifetime, yes, because we are human organisms. What makes us human organisms is the fact that we are on Earth as a species of creature, of thinking, conscious creature, speaking, thinking, conscious creature, yes, which is the only thinking, speaking, conscious creature is the human on this planet. All other creatures do not speak. Okay? And I do not lie either. Okay? But, say for instance, us humans, lion-ass humans, right? Slid over to this other planet, you know what I mean? Which wouldn't even necessarily be inhabitable, but just for the sake of argument, the sake of consideration, the sake of ridiculousness. Because you never know, you know what I mean? You might have needed to have thought about this before you would just overlook it, basically, in any other context. It's good to just think hypothetically sometimes. It's always good to think hypothetically. Yeah, so, okay. A lifetime here. It's 60 to 80 years. We're going to go ahead and give it the max, 80. We want to extend that. We want to get to extending that as opposed to condensing it, because that's what's been happening. It's been condensing this whole time. You know, it fluctuates. It's been fluctuating up and down, but they say in the Bible niggas was living hella long, right? And that's kind of weird because, of course, that's supposed to be a true book or whatever the fuck. So I'm just, you know what I mean? I'm not overlooking shit. I'm not, being so quick to overlook hypothetical considerations. Because there's a reason for that as well. You know what I mean? Maybe because you didn't have the time to ask yourself these questions. But I'm sure once you heard that, you might have said to yourself, what the fuck? Me, I don't remember to be asking that question. That's not even as worthy as other questions that I've been able to answer in my life. Like the main question as to what the fuck is the deal. And I answered that. That question was answered to me, as I told you before. And I'm not lying to you. So, say for instance, you were to pop up at this other planet, which is the closest planet, when you can go wherever the fuck you want to go at. In this dimension or whatever next dimension. Without a spaceship. Okay? Without having to worry about oxygen, nigga. Facts. If you was to sit and focus on that enough. But you want to bypass that part. And that's why I say it's a trap, nigga. It's a trap, nigga. Don't fall for it. No. Samido. Hey, yeah, so 5 days is a year there, right? So 5 times 80. We already kind of said what that was, right? It was 400, right? But 400 years there, you would live 400 years. 400 years. Oh. Pain, man. You know, it hurts to hurt people, is what I was thinking about earlier. You know, uh, evil is not natural. Evil is not, it's not a characteristic. It's not a aspect. It's not a function of the human soul and spirit. It just ain't. Maybe of the flesh, and that's what they will tell you. But your spirit is not evil. Your soul is not evil. That's why it is that you would lose your soul in sinning. No. It's not like, oh, now your soul turned bad. Because even if you were to go to Sheol or hell, they say that's only for a time. They say it's eternal. But even in the Bible, they talk about, well, this is a different Bible story, right? It's different Bibles, right? Some people believe that this evil person, right, the leader of evil himself, yes, is supposedly re-released, and given time before this nigga's completely destroyed, and there's no way around destroying that nigga, right? Even though, because it's trapped on the earth, right? They say after Armageddon and in the apocalypse, into this new earthly paradise, right? They say there's a heaven, but then there will be an earthly paradise, an eternal earthly paradise. Even though Earth it's not gonna fucking last forever, right? Even Earth in itself, and this is the conversation. This is part of this is the other part of the conversation, right? In itself, okay, right? Right? This is you know what I mean? Because who all say this, right? Who all say this? You know what I mean? Who all talks about a earthly paradise? Only so many people. But there's versions of this Bible that have that story in it. The other version will tell you of course, an eternity in heaven. But only so many are even eligible for that. Only so many souls on earth, right? They talk about reincarnation, but and then another topic about reincarnation is a very particularly interesting topic is reincarnation, right? Because if a soul is being reincarnated, at what point was it incarnated? You know what I mean? And you know what I mean? From where is it incarnated, and from where is it reincarnated? Yeah, it's the same place. Well, what is the case in said reincarnation? If in order to be reincarnated, you would have to be incarnating again. So that means that there was a first time that you were incarnated, or the soul or spirit that you are housing, that you are born with, right? That you are blessed to bless, at one point was a whole soul, you know? Now, it is said that it is your assignment in these reincarnations so as to reconnect and to complete your purpose, your destiny. And until you do, is when you is how you are reincarnated. And in living life here in this particular realm, on this planet or otherwise, but speaking of this planet, as far as even as far back as the original legends, speaking of life and consciousness and light and rebirth, right? And reincarnation, literal reincarnation, for whatever reason. They were saying that you can get to a point to where you're not now reincarnating any other same soul. Now, what happens to that particular soul or spirit once, of course, it's completed its cycle from being born for whatever reason, needing to be born or choosing to be born, to now through its births, whether it's one or endless, what in the net is the next case? What's the next level? Right? What's the next function? You know? Is the part. Right? And so that's why there's no place for evil. Right? The very original term for a human used to be what is called an Enneon, right? An Enneon in itself, the meaning of this term means to bring good to the earth. Not evil, but bring good to the earth, and not to let any good be lost from this situation here on this particular planet as a human being. The original human beings, yes, is what they called themselves before the word human, before the word God or even man. Because even in the rural, more recent and most recent communities of Africa, there's a word called Muntu. Now this means life. It means God and man. It's the same word for referring to the creator and creation. It's called Muntu. Yes? I think this is a Zulu or a Swahili word. It may be even a Khan word, Utiwap. So the point of what I'm saying is, as far as evil is concerned, and badness and pain and hate, right? That's why it hurts to hurt people. You know, it doesn't feel good it's not supposed to feel good to hurt people, right? And anytime that it does feel good to hurt people, that's already because of damage that's done to you. Yes? It's always a different reason for that, is what I'm saying. Other than a natural arrangement, natural connection. Right? Even to hurt people, it hurts the person hurting them. Right? And so it's a cycle in itself. It's a vicious cycle. And that's also another trick and trap that's been, inflicted, that's been that challenges us in today's society, because there's been generations of backwards associations, backwards connections, to where like even when it comes to family, you're going to learn that in whatever environment, whether it's from your parents or your environment. You're going to learn how to hurt a person on purpose, right? You're usually going to hurt a person one of two ways. You're going to know that you're going to hurt them and purposely hurt them, or you're going to end up hurting them and not even be trying to hurt them, which happens all the time. And by the time you do hurt a person, it hurts to hurt a person, and especially when you don't mean to, right? Unless it is that you are meaning to hurt them, and then it still hurts sometimes. But for the most part, if you're consciously meaning to, right? Because you can be meaning to and not realize that you're meaning to hurt them, and then realize it. And but for the most part, you're not really going to realize that you've hurt them, especially if you're meaning to hurt them, but unconsciously meaning to hurt them. Right? It's not even going to be so evident. They're not even necessarily going to even admit it to you until it's like they can see that it hurts you to hurt them, because for you to mean to hurt them, you wouldn't imagine that it would hurt you. Why would you mean to do something that two people are ended up hurt behind? Right? Well, that happen all the time too. Trust me, I know. You know, I've still been able to be available, nigga, after the fact and shit, like, and for, you know, because usually hurt people and then go hurt somebody else, right? Hurt people and then leave the hurt to have to hurt someone else unexpectedly, and then that still be unfinished and undone, because of course it was unconsciously purposed and shit, low-key, you know. And that's the thing too, another point I was going to make about family, not to go all over the place, because I was returning to a thought I had about this earlier, admittedly. And so I was going to mention about, you know, where you learn it from and how sometimes it's necessary, and that's a safety to be able to be hurt and to hurt someone that you always will need to return to, right? Because of course you don't have to kill them. You understand? You did what I mean? Somebody hurt you on purpose, you have to decide to forgive them, but it's your family, you really kind of have no choice but to forgive them. When to be honest, and this is another part about forgiveness, is the entire conversation. That's another game that's being played too, as far as forgiving people, right? It's like some things and some people don't want to be forgiven, right? They're gonna take every chance they can to fuck you over because of whatever complex they have. Now, it's not fair to them that they have that complex, is the point I'm making. But it's for sure not fair to you that you don't have that complex and they do. Because what makes you different, other than that you're willing to forgive? Forgive yourself. Forgive yourself. It ain't about forgiveness. You trust God, nigga. You love God. You realize that it's not for you to judge a person. It's not for you to forgive a person. It's not for you to condemn anyone or to forgive them. That's for God to do. And you're going to turn that decision over to God and do what it is that God asks you to do in regards to that person. And that is what? Love them as you would like to be loved, not as you have been loved. Right? Love them as you would see is the best way to love. Even if you don't even know what that would be, you know how it feels to you to be hurt. And so you're not going to consciously or purposely do that to another person. And try your best. It's hard because, niggas, that's the first thing motherfuckers will set it up for it to happen. And even interacting with them at all, out of that fear, out of that resentment, out of that trauma, right? Out of the backwards association with the whole purpose of life and the existence of evil and the necessity of evil and the unavoidableness of evil, or you know what I mean? The fact that humans are creatures, when no, we're not only creatures, because that's here in this room that we creatures. Okay? Our soul and the spirit come from somewhere else. And even the first indigenous primal creatures knew that thousands of years ago. Right? And we'll tell you the procedure so as to bypass the necessity of even even associating the thoughts of things from that approach, in that context, right? So whatever is happening to where we're not at least going there first, right? Then that's a culprit, right? We all come from the same place, but we're not also we're all not so clear. We're not all so clear as to exactly the codes and the instructions, but they're there, right? But you're probably not so interested in it because, of course, you're not on the continent, right? But wherever else that it is that you would be, the entire structure derives, my nigga, from one particular source. Because as far as written into a particular collected codex, before, of course, yeah, there's you know, oral traditional folk tales, yes, right? Now, as far as how far back those go, only your ancestors can tell you that. Only your grandmother can tell you what her grandmother told her. At this point, those questions weren't asked, so we would have to go within to answer those questions. At this point, as I said before, but there was a time where the entire story included every person that the story came through. And so every time you told the story, before you even told the story, you would say, my great grandfather Roderick told, or was told by his great grandfather Benjamin, who was told by his great grandfather Samuel, the story of our tribe, of our you know what I mean, of our native creed, and all of the positive lessons, my nigga, right? And procedures to take as to further the, the love, you know what I mean? The progressiveness of the growth, right? The healing, basically. The healing steps, the steps to healing, yes. Healing whatever has happened, right? Even to the medicines, yes? Not even just chemical medicines or organic, herbal, botanic medicines, but literal procedures and sequences and rituals of thinking to do, so as to exercise imbalanced spirits. What has happened to this? Well, I mean, it's relevant to me, man. I got time to sit and listen to that story, yo, about how you learned how to go out into the woods and meet your spirit animal and come back and do this, and this will change, and you can build on this. And that's how you was able to know exactly how to make it rain and all that extra shit. I got time for that, cuz. I got time for that. I don't have no other time, nigga, though, for no fake ass shit, for no hating, for no motherfucking hurting people because I'm hurting shit, right? Or people ended up hurt because I ain't fixed my hurt. You dig? That's all that will happen. That's all that can happen. And if it and as it continues to happen, it will be and is only because that is what the fuck we want to happen. Subconsciously or consciously. For the most part, it's even consciously. At this point. Ain't no reason. All it is an excuse. As to what also can happen. Yeah, that's also what can happen, but at this point, whatever else in alternative is not also happening. Right? If we can't even tell you names of our grandparents 7 generations back. That's travestational. Everybody's supposed to know their grandparents' name, right? We got to take extra time out of our agendas just to figure that out at this point. When that's something that everybody should know by heart, right? You know the days of the week by heart. You know what I'm saying? You know what holiday it is, right? You know the combination sequence, nigga. This password they get into this website, nigga. You dig? You know exactly what type of mental condition nigga got, right? Social sort of, classification. I don't see how that's more important. I really don't. You know, and I can see to why that even has become important because of the lack of importance of the truly meaningful things. The more, you know what I mean, at least as meaningful, if not, you know, whatever else wouldn't even matter without that, right? Right? It's like it's taking out the entire, setting, right, for whatever else. But as far as hurting people, when you're younger, it could be your parents that hurt you, and then you grow up, or it could be your environment. It could be, just society in itself is going to make a mark on you. It's going to change you. It's going to influence. It's going to determine certain ways that you see life, the different things that you encounter in your life. For the most part, people be tripping out here, yo. Really be having chips on their shoulders, and it's not even so purpose a lot of times, but a lot of people don't see the real effect of it and the fuller dangers of it. Not everybody's spirit is so strong. Not everybody's heart is so strong. It's not so immune. And that's a gauge in itself. That's another range, right? How much you can take and how much you can give. Because it's like if you don't learn the proper way, if you don't know the proper way, even if you can deflect the detriments of being involved and associated with improper and imbalanced and corrupted sequences and energies, it's going to take that much more of your strength, right? And resilience and determination and patience and long suffering and faith and love and forgiveness to turn the tides, flip the odds, not only in just your favor, but into a positive direction. That is, if you're not associated, if you're associated more with the pain, because within the pain is actually the medicine. But it takes going through it. It takes seeing it through. It takes that time. And a lot of times, motherfuckers is moving too quick, moving up out of the way of the pain. But it's the pain that's got them all extra evasive to begin with. Otherwise, they will be a little bit more. They'll be a lot more accepting of things, right? A lot more accepting of the way things actually are, and that is how they are supposed to be, right? For the most part, things that happen, we feel like, oh, this is wrong. This is so wrong. There's only so many wrong things that's going on, okay? And for the most part, the wrongest thing that's going on is us feeling like anything that shouldn't be going on would ever go on. That's the whole fucking explanation they're giving you, my nigga. And that's the reason why they're giving you that explanation. It's so that you would then quiet your own questioning of it eventually, because of all the commotion, because it's overwhelming having to correct and then also not be accepted, but then also have to reverse and then deflect and avoid, right? And then also, be stronger than you actually should have to be, right? all extra early, right? It's cold. It's like, unless you can hurt someone and still um, be able to love them too, which is hard to do, right? It's hard to do that. It's hard to even have that opportunity to do that unless it's special. It's less and less of that happening though nowadays. You know, it's really interesting though. Um, you know, if it's your family that hurts you, you gotta be around them, and so that's why it's kind of fucked up because it's like you want to just be able to have it be straight and smooth, but that's like kind of our protection. That's where we revert to. You know, you get out into the world, and then that's conflicts. You know what I mean? That's all sorts of animosities and frictions, right? That don't go nowhere. Why? Because of course, oh well, shit, nigga, it don't matter to me. Your life don't matter to me. Your life don't matter to me. But what you're doing is affecting me, or what it is that you aren't doing is affecting me, right? Because, you know, to even have to be involved with someone that you don't have to be involved with opens the door for that, right? It's like you're around someone, you don't know them, you don't necessarily love them, even though you should love them, whether you know them or not. They say love your neighbor as yourself. Not just like them, not just respect them, not just don't hurt them. Love them. Okay? Do unto others as you would have done to you. Not as has been done to you, not as much as they gonna let you. Right? If you're dealing with them at all, see your brother as greater than you, my nigga. Love them as yourself, right? But see them as greater than you and treat them as you would like to be treated. Right? This is the golden rule, yo. Right? But you see them as it's unnecessary. Right? You're thinking completely different. We're thinking completely backwards, saying to ourselves, well shit nigga, you can just be replaced. It's plenty of other people, just random people. People are just people. You know, everybody is significant on this earth. Every life matters. Okay? You know, you wouldn't have been born, okay? Your very soul in itself is either reincarnated or not. Right? You're either a returning soul here for a particular purpose to be returning, or you're fucking a fresh new individual, special unique soul. To begin with, nigga, to be alive. But that's not how niggas is approaching niggas. Niggas want to statistify motherfuckers, right? I'm a German. No, nigga, you're a human, nigga. I'm a Nicaraguan. No, nigga, who is Nicaragua? What's your name? Is your name Nicaragua? No, it's not. So how are you Nicaraguan? Oh, because some other men who don't really actually see life is precious, right? Because they're not even they don't even know their grandparents' name, now are perpetuating a cycle that was set in place by some people that set the same thing in place that's got you feeling like evil has a place when it don't. The very people, like I said, who name evil are the ones who are making it a factor, right? And that's been generational, right? That's an entity in itself. And it's not, I don't believe it's an earthly entity. I don't believe it's an earthly entity, especially it's that very entity, nigga, that's making uranium and plutonium. Right? Now, what would be the reason for this, though? Right? Because, you know, that's not the only thing, right? That's not the only thing. Those are the closest planets to us, yo. Aside from whatever other star 4 light years away, nigga. The furthest planet to us has been reached, nigga, by a probe, my nigga. Already, my nigga. These other planets are closer to us, cuz. So whatever is going on, it's more to it, my nigga. Most absolutely. You know?